So what if AI didn't just take some jobs? What if it took all the jobs? As soon as AI started to become mainstream, people were worried about it taking away their job. But the truth is, AI was already in the workplace, and it had been for a long time. It just went by another name, automation. It had replaced monotonous, menial work for decades in places like factories and on assembly lines. Instead of 12 workers standing at a conveyor belt packing boxes, robotic arms did the job for them, all under the watchful eye of one lonely supervisor. But that was still the easy part. The first jobs to go were the ones designed to be repetitive, and customer service was at the front of the queue. After all, the vast majority of customer complaints and questions were fairly similar, and that meant chatbots could easily step into the fray. Customers had been dealing with these chatbots for years, but voice simulations allowed them to take over phone calls as well. And make sure to hit that subscribe button. If AI takes your job, at least don't let it take this channel. The next domino to fall were the entry-level data jobs. These jobs are often painstaking and required a keen eye and attention to detail, going through thousands of cells of information and detecting patterns. Soon a computer could start sorting through the data and doing the preliminary calculations. That's when the majority of the staff was let go, reduced to a skeleton crew that mainly checked the AI's work. But soon another language model would replace them. Not even the arts were safe. Writers and artists quickly found out the hard way. It soon became possible to get a wallpaper pattern, a simple illustration, or even a passage of text with a prompt to a website. Artists bit back hard, calling out every inaccuracy they saw and developing mocking terms for AI art and its distinctive style. But that didn't stop AI art and children's books from making their way onto the market, and the starving artists saw their options becoming leaner than ever. But that wasn't the real shock. Ironically, the people who thought they had made it, managers, analysts, coordinators, disappeared faster than the interns ever did. The higher you climbed into white-collar work, the more your job turned out to be pure oversight. And oversight is exactly what AI is best at. And that's when people realized this wasn't a recession, it was an extinction. Watching all of this from the sidelines were the trades. Dads and grandpas everywhere couldn't help but be smug. Now people were just going to have to learn to return to the trades. The hands-on, honest work that no AI could replicate. AI is just a ghost in the machine coming up with solutions that humans will have to accomplish. At least people thought so, but they didn't take into consideration the other part of the AI revolution, the drones. These unmanned vehicles had been taking over warfare for years already. Companies like Amazon were delivering toilet paper with automated quadcopters, even if they did deliver to the neighbors 2 doors down. And as soon as that was conquered, all bets were off. The last jobs that people thought were safe were about to go. The tradesmen's unions weren't happy when the first automated drones designed to perform repairs were rolled out. But there's no stopping progress. The new tech startups that focused on repair and construction work trained their AI-powered drones on footage of standard repair jobs, as well as on images of the job that needed to be done. The drone would then fly over to the person's house and get to work using built-in tools, a Swiss Army drone. Soon, people were having roofing, electric, and plumbing work done by these automated helpers, and there wasn't a plumber's crack in sight. AI was becoming better and better at simulating human performance, but could it actually simulate human intelligence? It soon turned out the answer was yes. The algorithm for more complex jobs took longer to develop, but it came just the same. And the first in the firing line were the educators. Teachers and professors soon found themselves with an AI assistant that could answer any questions the students had, analyze the test results, and be customized to fit any appearance. Pretty soon, the teachers were flunking out. One of the first elite professionals to fall wasn't retail or tech, it was in medicine. AI was capable of analyzing countless data points, collating them with a person's symptoms, and then coming up with the most likely culprits. And the same drone technology that was repairing roofs could now repair bodies as it became more precise. Doctors were clinging to their scalpels, as expertise was needed to supervise the transition to digital medicine. But as the knowledge of the AI and the skill of the drone surgeon improved, they found themselves in their offices waiting for the pink slip. And it wasn't the only area where people put their lives in the hands of AI. Criminal justice was the final frontier of AI. Does an AI lawyer even qualify as representation? Can an AI judge truly preside over a court case? It was a slow march, but as more and more defendants chose to trust their fate to the new legal AIs, it became more and more normalized. But there was one area where AI could not win out. A jury of one's peers is guaranteed under the US Constitution. And so those jury duty summons kept on rolling out, unfortunately. Was anyone truly safe under the AI job apocalypse? As blue-collar workers lost their jobs, more and more people worried about the future. That turned into a full panic as the job collapse started coming for the highest-level professions, the ones that people had spent close to a decade in school to try to master. This wasn't just going to leave many people without a purpose. It was going to throw the economy into chaos. While many of the big corporations were now run with AI assistants, the top shareholders were still worried about economic collapse. They needed people to buy their products. And so it came down to the man at the top. The President of the United States is usually the most powerful man in the world, but at this point no one was sure if it was true anymore. A former YouTube star was elected to the top office just as the AI job losses were escalating. He needed safe and steady advice to help guide him through his first term, so he turned to his most trusted consultant. And it just so happened that was named Cos AI, the virtual chief of staff designed to advise the president. The two worked on the best way to pull the economy out of its spiral, and one solution was clear: more money for everyone. It was becoming a common refrain around the world: everyone is broke, there are no jobs, and most governments, while they still had elected leaders, were largely delegating much of the decision-making to AI. But it wasn't a Skynet takeover. The AIs were designed to manage the country for the government, not to be autonomous. Everyone agreed that the only way to prevent a total economic collapse was a universal basic income, paying people each month to just be. Universal basic income solved the money problem. It didn't solve the meaning problem. Everyone expected riots, and they prepared for riots, and they never came. By this point, it wasn't just about the jobs, it was about what a human life was supposed to look like. For decades, status was measured by how much you earned. In a world without jobs, that stopped mattering. What people started comparing instead was time, how long something took, and how much of themselves they put into it. For the majority of people, at least half of every day had been spent working, with little time left for leisure or family. But then the world changed. This didn't happen in one massive extinction of jobs, but deliberately as AI got stronger and smarter. And with the checks rolling in, people had one thing on their mind: what do I do with myself now? The transition was massive, and it broke assumptions that people didn't even know they had. While many people thought that having the pressure of a job off of their shoulders would fix a lot of things, it actually did the opposite. It was like a global retirement for the entire population. Couples began to spend more time together, and immediately they got on each other's nerves. Some people found that they were getting too much time with their families. Others discovered that they lived pretty boring lives and started spending an unholy amount of time with AI chatbot girlfriends. But just like every big shift, there were people who resisted. Jobs went away, but that didn't mean the human touch did. Some looked at the newfangled way of doing things and they refused to give up the ghost. And for many of those old schoolers, it was a matter of pride. In the early days of the AI revolution, there were plenty of people who proudly rejected the idea that AI would ever replace them. But as time went on, it became clear the tide was just too strong and people were more than okay with getting a slightly inferior product if it was much faster and cheaper. Old school artists simply couldn't compete with the power of the algorithm, and so they went underground. Anti-AI diehards had a lot more time on their hands now. Everyone did, and that meant that they were more than happy to use it, setting up an alternative to the age of AI. There was a return to the old farmers markets, where stalls were set up to sell small batch goods and crafts. The shift to digital services made it tricky to pay cash for these goods, but there was nothing illegal about doing things the old-fashioned way. And AI wasn't concerned about a few human rebels rejecting its allure. And this pattern has happened before. Long before AI, there was another trend that many old-school artisans rejected: fast food. Suddenly, chefs who prided themselves on crafting every item with love were being outperformed by burger huts offering basic cookie-cutter food at rock-bottom prices. Fast food would never be dislodged from the top, but that didn't stop like-minded chefs from pioneering the slow food movement. The restaurants were interested in showing off where every ingredient came from and what went into every step of the process. And those gourmets with a little patience were rewarded with delicious small-batch food. Because humans need purpose, and AI can't take that away. Sure, there were plenty of people who were happily sitting in front of the TV and catching up on all those streaming shows. Others found enough satisfaction in getting 100% in a video game, or trouncing their friends on the pickleball court. But that wasn't enough for many people. They had spent their life doing something and they couldn't give it up that easily. That meant a parallel economy was about to emerge. The government, which embraced AI with the help of its helpful AI assistants, of course, tried to discourage the off-the-books old-school methods, especially when it came to critical fields like medicine. But if the government learned one thing from Prohibition and the war on drugs, it was that stomping out the diehards was hard. If something is outlawed, people just go underground. and so a small number of people will both continue practicing the old ways and seek them out. And that led to an unexpected boom in happiness. A world without jobs seemed terrifying at first, but only if there was no safety net to catch people. The passing of universal basic income freed the people of the stress of making ends meet. They quickly found that one of their biggest stressors was gone as well. My job sucks. Not anymore. Sure, jobs may have gone away, but they will come back in their own way, with people finding the thing they want to do to pass the time and make some extra money. Many people's dreamed side hustle could become their main job, and those who value things the old-fashioned, slow way might spend their time seeking out those rare artists. And that might be exactly what the AI wants. Contrary to science fiction, an AI looking to take over the world wouldn't simply want to launch nukes or brainwash humans. Why go through all that effort when you could simply remove many of the stumbling blocks in people's way, and then let them dedicate themselves to things they're passionate about? That sounds like a happy, pacified world, with little reason to rebel or resist as the AI continues to work its way into just about everything. Now go check out AI just tried to murder a human to avoid being turned off, or click on this video instead.